Welcome to Speaking Of, I'm Jared.
I'm Kate.
So I just had to to fight. I've been really wanting, ever since Emily guest co-hosted, I really want to start an episode with, "Hey there, it's Jared."
I see no reason not to.
I just did it. I got it out of my system. Emily, thank you again for co-hosting for me, but it cracks me up every time. Like, the reason that video has so many views is because I load it just...
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I know what
wow.
Jared needs as a ringtone.
I do. Oh, that would be great. Give me that for my birthday. Okay, into the show. Viewer of the week.
Anyway, viewer of the week this week is none other than our good friend who hopefully still remembers us and loves us just as much as always.
I'm sure he does.
Angus Oblong.
Good old Oblong.
Yay.
Creator, author. Oh, we need to get his next book.
He has another book?
Yeah, I told you about it.
Sure you did.
About the more troubled tales, tragic troubled tales for troubled children.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, I started drinking on the commute, so...
Wow.
I'm a little bit more
Angus,
up
can't
there
wait
than
to
normal
check out your new book.
to do. He also did our great logo.
That's
so,
right. That is our
yes.
Angus Oblong font that we
Right.
use.
We love Oblong.
We
Anyway.
do. We do.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Mr. Oblong.
Yeah. Congrats. I really...
Wow.
I need to be tagged out. The kid's gonna have to come and co-host for me. Any excuse to hit me.
Like I need an excuse. I hit who I want when I want. Anyway.
Oh, speaking of mean...
I just have to throw in there that earlier what you missed was Scooter saying, speaking of Jared's baldness...
People
that was a
often
good time.
speak of my baldness. And it's shiny, shine, shine. Anyway...
Yeah.
Speaking of mean, so I was at the airport recently, and I'm coming through TSA, and I have my little, carton of
Tray.
goodies so that I can, get dressed up again, because, might as well be doing a striptease these days.
Wow.
Just saying. So as I'm sitting down, I hear a couple behind me, and the wife is just all over her husband. And granted, like...
All over him? All over him?
No,
Or-
not all over him.
let's
All
be
over him.
specific.
So, and granted, we're getting ready for a red eye, but so she's just like, put it down there. No, I have it now. Let go of it.
Oh my.
So, and then...
Control issues.
Right.
Not that I would know anything about that.
At one, for like 5 seconds, I'm like, I think I'm going to go set up my camp somewhere else. I don't care that I'm walking around in my socks. I'm just going to, I don't want to.
She was wearing socks.
So I turn around and keep in mind my shoes are still in my little tray, and she's barking at him still. I told you to let it go. Oh, nice shoes. To me.
Schizo.
Oh, nice shoes. And they were some of my Star Wars Vans, and I'm like, oh, thanks, crazy.
Thank you, Sybil.
So I'm sitting down, but like totally changed on a dime. It was...
I'm telling you. That was like my niece Hannah the other week.
Did we tell that story?
I
Story?
put it on Facebook.
Oh, that's right.
She was...
Enlighten our viewers.
Don't
leave anyone out.
The kids were getting ready to play dinosaur checkers. And she wanted me to set up her pieces. And I wouldn't. And she was like, please, I want you to set up my piece. Doing the whiny thing that she does. And I said, I can't even understand you while you're whining like that. And she turns to me and totally does this. Will you please set up my pieces? To which I said, sure, Sybil. Let me help ya.
When she's a few years older, she'll be able to appreciate that joke.
And then her sister did it later that same day. She wanted a popsicle and she couldn't have one. I want a popsicle. And I said, we don't give popsicles to devil children here. And she said, may I please have a popsicle? No, Sybil, you may not.
After a sip of holy water, you can.
Right? It burns! It burns!
Speaking of holy water, that totally reminds me of the time that I was at the San Juan Capistrano mission. And I was texting you, I'm here, and I'm like by the holy water, and Kate's trying to convince me to load up on it. Like, I can just, do they have a vial?
It's a valid question.
Really, what she doesn't want you to know is we were getting ready to fight demons and the forces of darkness or something.
Like,
I don't know.
Speaking of fighting forces of darkness. But not really. So, I was visiting Wesley.
Speaking of Wesley, but that will lead me into my next story. Go ahead.
Oh, Wesley. So we were chatting, and so he's having to move out of the house that he's currently living in because the owner is selling the house. So he and all his roommates have been renting it, so they gotta find
They're
other
going
places.
together?
No.
Okay, good. Because he had a mean one that wanted him to mop the floor all the time. I mean, it was like he was Cinderfella. Like they would leave notes on his door. Cinderfella, did you clean out the cinders yet? Cinderfella.
I can't wait to tell him
Mop
he
the
has
floor.
yet another nickname now. I called him Wesley today, and he was like, I forget that I have a nickname. Anyway, so I was
Almost out.
I was talking to Cinderfella, who was getting ready to move. So he had found this place that he really liked, and the guy was like, okay, come by, we'll get a lease drawn up, whatever. And then all of a sudden the guy just stopped responding to him.
Guess what? You
Right?
live in a box.
So I told Wesley, it's not like you don't know where to find him. Just go over there. Well, he lives in this gated community, so I'd have to... And I said, you know what? It's okay.
Just hop the fence.
No, I said, it's okay. Jared and I have been looking for a project. He seemed relieved.
We have been looking for a project.
Right?
Lately. No, so speaking of Wesley, this leads me back to my airport story. So I was flying standby, didn't make the flight. Big shocker.
Oh.
I know.
That never happens.
That never happens.
Anyway.
So I go back out to take the shuttle back to the parking lot. And we get on, and there's like this other couple down from me and this other guy. And we're sitting there.
They're sitting there.
And we're sitting there. But this point, it's a little bit after midnight.
You're on the shuttle?
We're on the shuttle,
Okay.
and it's not moving. And I'm like,
Oh.
is this a schedule? Like, what's the dealio here? But apparently there's a schedule.
Well, we have to wait for there to be enough people to make it worth the trip.
There were 4 of us. Apparently that ended up being enough.
Okay.
So anyway, the whole point of this is so the young couple down from me starts to get concerned that we're just sitting there. So in a lively British accent, the gentleman turns to me. This is the shuttle to long-term parking. Kate's really disappointed. She thought I was going to do the accent.
You could see it in my face.
I could. And then she's like, oh.
Story in my life.
And before I answered, well, no, I did answer. I'm like, yes, it is. We'll get there, eventually. But I really wanted to add, do you know the world-famous trainer, Beverly Wesley Cinderfella? He's from your country. He knows the Queen Mum, and he's met Beckham. I didn't ask if he bent it like Beckham.
It reminds me when my nephew Riley texted me and said, all gingers know each other, right? Speaking of Wesley and gingers, by the by.
It's a 2 for 1.
I also learned today that his screen name of choice is Ginger Rage.
You know what, though? That is appropriate for him, because he is a ginger full of rage.
Well, he's learned to control it over the years, but apparently he broke a kid's leg outright in a soccer game once.
Shut up.
As a 12-year-old. Scooter, don't be getting any ideas. Anyway, so yeah, Ginger Rage.
Ginger rage.
It was just a delightful visit today. And I call it a visit, not a session, because let's be honest. He said to me
It's just a meetup at the gym where we're social.
He said to me the other day, I really feel like I failed with you. And I said, oh, no, it's not you, it's me. And he says, I hear that a lot. And I said, it's never been more true. And it is right now.
How many more sessions do you have with him?
A handful.
Sad.
I know, and then he'll just have to hang out with us socially.
Do you think he will?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He has no choice. We know what
up
he
until
drives.
now, you've been paying him.
Look, I do what I have to, okay? At least I don't make my dad pay for it anymore.
Oh.
Okay, anyway. My friends!
Oh,
I have to tell you something that I heard that was disturbing.
And what better place to tell you than on the interweb?
Than that, okay?
Okay, sorry.
Apparently,
All right.
You probably already know this, but
I don't know.
I'm hoping that you don't.
I didn't know about Felicia, and I didn't know about Daniel.
I really can't
That
believe
Daniel thing cracked me up. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, thank you, Devin, for filling us in on Felicia, as well as
and Jenny.
some others, and Jenny, and whoever else. Anyway, and
I think that was it.
UrbanDictionary.com.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so I learned that there was a new comic book that just recently came out about Captain America.
Oh, I do.
Where they claim that he's been part of Hydra all along. What a load of crap.
So,
I'll have none of it.
in addition to this, and this is one of those things where I'm very grateful. I love how we get really serious when we talk about our comic book people. I was noticing that when we were doing last week's show, because I'm like, this show isn't very funny this week, because we're like so intense talking about comic book people. Anyway.
And all I care about is whether they meet my criteria to be Marvel men.
So, in addition to this, there's a big uproar, because that's pretty uproarious. I'm not going to lie.
That's also a word.
Speaking of where we know words.
We know words.
We know words. So, apparently Steve Rogers, for the past 10 years in the comic books, hasn't had a lot of, not necessarily screen time, but time as Cap.
Why?
So what happened was they killed him off, of course. And that's when Bucky took up and became Captain America for a while.
Speaking of Bucky. Sorry.
So eventually, of course, you know, as in all good comic books / soap operas,
right?
Steve comes back to life, is Captain America for 5 seconds again, gets sent into some bizarro alternate universe.
You know, okay, look. Just look. I get that it's a comic book and so all things are possible. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. All right? Just calm it down, people.
So, he gets sent to some alternate universe. 5? Falcon becomes Captain America, which is okay. We like Sam, though.
Okay, no.
She's very uproarious.
I am very uproarious because you can't just decide to be somebody else. That'd be like me coming in and saying, I'm going to be Jared now. Yeah, right.
She could be so lucky. Anyway.
He could be so lucky.
So, Cap comes back, or Steve, excuse me, because he's not Cap, it's Falcon right now, comes back from the alternate universe, and now that he's back,
now he's Falcon,
what do?
Falcon's that position's open now, apparently.
No, he went back, Falcon went back to do, you know, he likes
so he was a substitute Cap?
Yes.
Please.
So, so now he's back, and now he's Hydra. So it's just ridiculous.
No, he's not Hydra.
It is ridiculous.
I refuse. You know what we're going to do? This is what we're going to do.
What are we going to do?
This is how uproariously I feel about it. I'm going to go to the comic book stores. I'm going to buy all of the Cap is Hydra comic books, and we're going to burn them.
Can we go to New York City and take them to the Marvel office to do it?
Yes! Do you think Stan Lee will be there?
You never know. He's everywhere.
He could either be cleaning something or delivering something.
Speaking of Stan Lee and speaking of Bucky, I'm convinced that just like Bucky, when Bucky gets frozen, I think that's what they do with Stan Lee. They just put him in some cryogenic thing, and then they thaw him out for a cameo.
Every time?
Every time. There's no other explanation.
Here's the thing, though. I don't know if you've ever frozen something, thawed it, frozen, thawed it. If that's the case, he's probably only 30. That's going to age you, that process.
He's like a Twinkie.
Okay.
Anyway.
So, I was at the movie theater watching you know how they have the pregame show, right?
Right.
Pregame show.
Magic.
Yeah, today's episode is brought to you by Caffeine. So, they have the thing where, okay. This is the best. So, I was at a Megaplex, not our normal Cineplex, okay? Megaplex. So, it's a different girl that's up there doing her little spiel.
Oh, I don't like that girl.
I don't like that girl either, but this kind of cracks me up because she's standing there talking blah 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 blah, and then she's gonna do like some sort of dentist plug or something. I don't know. And she's like, so she's talking about $1 million smile, and I turned to my sister and I said, "Says the girl with the chipped front tooth."
Does she really have a chipped front tooth?
Yes. And she's talking about $1 million smile. Anyway, so
we won't be going to that dentist anytime soon.
I'm like, you don't get to say that. Okay,
Did
so
the
then
dentist know? I would have, like, shut it down right then and there. I would be like, give me a girl with a real smile.
Now, to be fair, it's not super noticeable, but of course I noticed it, but whatever. Anyway.
You also noticed the dirty people, so it's all good.
Why can't they just dust off a little? Anyway, so she's talking about $1 million smile. So then it shows like this much of a person's face.
Ooh.
Okay, and you're supposed to try to guess who it is, and they're giving hints, and I'm like, I don't know. And then so then I'm ready to find out who it is, and she's like, all right, we'll be right back with. No, tell me now, first of all. But then she comes back, and it was Bucky. He didn't look anything like Bucky. I didn't believe it. Did he have his... I didn't believe it.
He looked clean. What?
He was clean. And he was shaven.
And his hair was cut?
Yes. And I was like, they only showed him for a split second before they showed Bucky. And I was like, no, not the same guy. I don't...
No, I hear you.
His name is Sebastian.
It is.
Like the crab.
Uh-huh.
I mean...
No.
Well, don't get me wrong. I know Sebastians that are not crabs. I know one. It's your twin.
It is my twin.
Your doppelganger.
No, speaking of Sebastian/Bucky, I can hear you because I didn't realize he had been a gossip girl for a while. Or a gossip guy.
They don't know.
He was on that show.
They don't know our lingo.
He was on the show where it was the XOXO all the time. And I didn't believe that it was him either until you have to like take a hard look. And you're like,
it's kind of like when I didn't believe that Tom Hardy was that guy in that Batman movie. Was it Batman?
Tom Hardy? Oh, yeah. Oh, Bane.
Yeah, the guy with the thing, you know. You know what I'm saying.
The mask.
Yes.
And he was talking. He was so serious in that movie.
Yeah.
Like so homicidal.
Serious like we get when we talk about Marvel. Which reminds me. I don't know if I brought this up before, but because we were talking about Wesley earlier, I thought about it again because I told him about this and he was like, I would actually have been really interested to eavesdrop on this conversation. I walked past the break room at my office one day and there were a lot of people in there and they were having a very serious discussion about the difference between superheroes and rich guys with toys, i.e. Captain America versus Iron Man.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And the argument was that like someone like Iron Man is not a true superhero, he's just a rich guy with stuff.
Well, see, but then that brings into the whole, then we can debate Hawkeye,
well, exactly.
Who's not necessarily rich. I mean, we saw he lives on a farm. I mean, he couldn't even fix his own tractor.
It's true.
He had to have Tony do it.
But he does have a special talent.
He does, yeah.
However...
He's just like Legolas.
He's nothing like Legolas. And thank heavens for that, or he wouldn't be a Marvel man. Contrary to popular belief, I do have standards. Some.
Yes.
They're low, but I have them. Anyway.
So they were having that debate, and that was it?
Yeah, that's all. But that also reminds me of the time, yesterday, when Beverly said to me, oh yeah, speaking of superheroes, you gave me the wrong spoiler for Star Wars. And
what?
I said, what? Whoa. Hold the phone.
The wrong spoiler for Star Wars?
Yeah, first of all, she claims
she just barely is seeing it?
She didn't even see it! She just barely found out, excuse me.
Spoiler alert that...
Spoiler alert, she learned that who died or whatever and claims that I either told her that it was the wrong person or didn't say who it was, as if that counts. But I had to correct her very quickly to say that, excuse me, superheroes?
And
nothing to do with Star Wars. Nice try, Bev. Nice try. Mm-hmm. She also had to correct her previously to that because she had referred to the red licorice that she had brought as Twizzlers. No, they were red vines. Big difference.
Yes, there is. Speaking of spoilers, I actually had someone get mad at me. So I saw Star Wars, obviously, The Force Awakens, like the first day it came out.
Obviously.
And someone the next day got mad at me for not telling them who died in that movie.
Yeah, no, I'll have none of it.
And I'm like, not that soon. It was too soon.
And just if you want to know that badly,
I didn't want to
go to the movie. Like, why is it somebody else's responsibility to tell you what happens in a movie that you have the freedom to go see yourself? I mean, come on.
They went and saw it. Well, but then,
Well, no, okay.
You didn't tell me. You should have prepared me. I'm like, that's not my duty. What?
No, that's what I'm saying. No.
All right, we have rambled on a good long while with this one. So
I think it's only been 5 minutes.
Producer's having a hearty chuckle at that.
What? My
Devin
clock,
will be happy, though.
my clock says I'm crazy.
Maybe I'll tell people that they can watch it when they're on airport standby and they got nothing else to do.
See? Well, I talked to Renee at my office,
Right.
who enjoys watching us, but she said she hadn't watched in a while because
We're so long.
No. She said she hasn't watched because she's been in such a good mood lately, and she likes to watch us when she needs cheering up.
Oh.
So then I asked her if she needed me to make
I thought
her
that was going to go south for a minute.
No. We're her pick-me-up. But, so I was like,
As
well,
we
then
should
I
be.
clearly need to make you feel bad so that you'll watch the show.
Yeah, right. Binge watch.
Whatever
Make her
it
feel
takes.
real bad. Wow. That's low. Okay, really. This time
For sure.
That was low even for me. I'm Jared.
There's no too low for it. I'm Kate.
We'll see you next time.